Hey buns, so patch 5.4 is here, and I wanted to tell you what I think is going to be most important for you to do before the weekly reset. There's some things that are going to be a little bit time sensitive that you're going to want to make sure to check off your list. If you're not sure when the weekly reset is happening for you, I will put a handy countdown timer in the comments section down below. This is a timer I always refer to when there's maintenance or anything like that, so you will know exactly when you have run out of time to do these things. First off, you want to make sure that you do the main story quest. Now this starts in the Rising Stones, assuming you're caught up with the story up to this point that's in Mordona. It took me about 3.5 to 4 hours to complete all of it, so you want to make sure that you get comfy for it and you have a bit of time to spend. After you finish all of that, you can see my personal reactions to the main story quest. That was my previous video that I released, so you can see if maybe you had the same reactions to me. Some of the things that I saw. You will also want to go to Mordesuk in Amarang to unlock the Eden's Promise normal raids. You will need an item level of at least 485 to do these, and you can get one item from each floor, that's each boss, per week. The items that drop in Eden's Promise from the bosses are not gear, but gear tokens that you can trade in for eye level 510 gear at Ghoul Ghoul in Amarang or Yal Yal in Yulmore. For example, if you want a hat, you will need to trade in 2 Helm of Lost Antiquity items from bosses in Eden's Promise to get the hat. So look through the Antique Exchange, figure out which items you're going to want to upgrade, and get the loot tokens you need from each boss once per week. Remember that you can buy the crafted gear from the market board. That's eye level 510, or you can craft it. It's crafted gear. And the Tomestone gear is eye level 520. So since this gear is 510, you want to consider what slots you will upgrade through those other methods before figuring out which tokens you want to get from the normal raids. Also, when you kill the last boss in Eden's Promise Eternity, you will get a Blade of Lost Antiquity. You can only get this item once per week, and make sure that you do, because if you get one every week for 7 weeks, you can trade in your 7 Blades of Lost Antiquity for a defragmented Tomestone. And you can use that plus 1,000 Revelation Tomestones to buy a very nice item level 520 weapon. So even if you don't want to bother with getting the gear tokens from the other bosses, make sure that you at least kill the final boss once per week for that blade. Or 7 weeks from now, everybody's gonna be running around with cool 520 weapons and you won't, and you'll be sad. There's also the savage mode of the raids to unlock after you unlock this normal version of the raids. Now these bosses do have item level requirements as shown in the patch notes. The patch notes are a good reference for where to unlock stuff and all kinds of additional details on these things I'm mentioning. Savage is how you will get best in slot items for your character. Like, this is a very efficient way to gear up your character. Assuming that you can't actually kill the bosses and get that sweet item level 530 loot. And as I said in my video last week, now is really the best time to jump into a static or a free company or some kind of group to do the Savage raids with, because there is a ton of recruitment happening right now for Savage raids. This is the start of a journey that will take most groups weeks or months to finish, and being with the group at the start of the journey will be a better experience than hopping in like in the middle. You might find that the real Savage loot was the friends you made along the way. A minute ago, I mentioned the item level 520 Tomestone gear bought with Tomestones of Revelation. You are going to want to make sure that you cap on these Revelation Tomestones every week so you can buy upgrades for yourself. Check the currency panel, check under the battle tab, and make sure that every week before reset you're at 450 out of 450 so that you'll be all caught up and able to buy stuff for yourself. By doing the main story quest, you unlocked the Expert Roulette, so that's a pretty good way to get Tomestones. Just running it every day or whenever you can during the week is fairly efficient, and it's a good way to meet your FC mates because there's usually at least one person who needs an Expert Roulette. And also, don't forget to convert the outdated Phantasmagoria tomes to Allegory tomes by talking to Ariana in Mordona. One other thing I suggest doing, but isn't necessarily urgent to do before the weekly reset, is to unlock the new trial. The quest for that is in the locks, and The extreme version requires an item level of 500 to do, but it drops eye level 515 weapons, and you can farm it as much as you want. So you can get a weapon for every job you play, and an eye level 515 weapon will make a big difference, and it will help a lot if you are trying to make headway in the raids. Unfortunately, I'm not really a big fan of how they look, but hey. It's a good stats, and glamour exists. So to recap, the most important things I would say you want to make sure you do before the weekly reset is your main story quest, cap on revelation tomestones for the week, get your loot tokens from the normal raid bosses, or at the very least the blade item from the last boss, and optionally, if you have time, you can do the new extreme trial for the weapon, though that's not really time sensitive. It will surely help. All those previous things that I've mentioned are stuff that I personally would prioritize this week. Those are things that I would consider important for improving your character's power, but there's a couple of other things that I want to talk about that are not necessarily gonna boost your stats or make you do more DPS or anything, but they might give you some cosmetic rewards like mounts, minions, or glamour, or just worth mentioning. So I just wanted to split this video kind of between stuff that's I feel is pretty important, which I've already talked about, and stuff that's maybe less urgent, but still interesting or worth mentioning. Titan Unreal may be something that you want to do before reset if you really care about the rewards purchasable with faux leaves. When you kill Unreal Titan, if you kill Unreal Titan, you will get to play the Faux Hollows minigame, and that rewards faux leaves. You can play that up to 2 times per week, and there's a new mount, Construct 6S, and some other cosmetic fluff that you can buy with the leaves. Since the fight sinks your item level down to 435, you can't outgear it, and it requires some quick reflexes, so it's really not a bad way to train yourself on your job. Finally, don't forget about the new treasure map that has been added. People need Zonderskin treasure maps to access it. So if you happen to be a gatherer, you can gather a map once per day, and you can either sell that map or you can use it yourself. Keep an eye on your timers window where it says next map allowance. That will tell you how long you have to wait until you can go and gather a new map. One other thing I'd like to point out that is not urgent to do this week but is still worth mentioning is the bonus role quest from Ciela, I think that's how you say her name, I kind of forgot, in the Crystarium, Ciela. So if you've done all the role quests, you know that there's an extra meta quest chain that you can do after that, and now there's a bonus role quest on top of that, continuing that story. So it's probably worth checking that out if you have time. Well, I hope this video is helpful for you in helping you narrow down the main objectives that you want to make sure you get done this week for the new 5.4 content so you can stay caught up on everything. I wish you luck if you are going to be attempting to challenge the Extreme Trial or the Unreal Trial or Savage or anything like that. I myself will be stepping into Savage tonight, so I'm really looking forward to that. If you like this video, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. You can also support the channel for free by clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow Warriors of Darkness. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!